Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for Papillon. So Papillon is a very small, independent movie about this one guy who was living in the 1930s. He was basically living the life. He was a thief, and he would trade jewels with mob bosses, I believe. It's something like that. He'd trade jewels with them. They'd give him money. He was filthy rich, and he spent it on entertainment and on entertaining his girlfriend at the time. And one day he is accused for a murder that he didn't commit. And because, there was no way to really prove it other than eyewitnesses, and there was an eyewitness that claimed to have seen it, he goes to jail, and while he's there, he befriends a man who is extremely rich. He is a painter, I believe, or no, I think he's a banker, but he's like a painter on the side, and he is fearful of his life because there are people in the jail that will kill him for his money because they sneak in money somehow. They will kill him for his money. It happens to another person. So he kind of hires the other guy as a bodyguard, and the two of them strike up a friendship that gets them through the many, many years that they are in jail. So Papillon is your basic prison break movie. It's about two guys in a bad situation for crimes, or for at least one crime that they didn't really commit, and they're bad people, but they go in and they are said to be, they're presented as heroes, and you're rooting for them to break out of prison. I did not go into Papillon with huge expectations. I didn't know much about the movie. I kind of went in knowing nothing, and that's the way I wanted to go into it, mostly blind, knowing nothing about the movie or its plot, only really knowing the actors in it, because this movie did have a very good cast, or at least a good two leads. You had Charlie Hunnam as the lead strong guy, and Rami Malek as the very rich man. And Rami Malek is later this year going to be in Bohemian Rhapsody playing Freddie Mercury, so I was very excited to see his acting ability, and it did not disappoint. He is a very good actor, and for sure, one of the strongest parts of this movie is the acting. Both Charlie Hunnam and Rami Malek give great performances, and these are very enticing performances. As an actor, I view these as very enticing performances because there's a lot to work with them. They are emotionally charged. They are hard to watch. I mean, they are powerful performances, and both of them prove their worth. And the rest of the movie around their performances and their chemistry is also pretty good. I think the first hour and 45 minutes of Papillon make a great movie. It's a hidden gem of a movie. And the last 30 minutes or so, they aren't bad is the thing. And I see why they were in there. They just did feel tacked on, and it did feel like a fourth act. By the time that you reach the end of the third act of the movie, not actually the third act, but by what felt like the third act, you felt like the story was about to conclude, but they wanted to stay true to the true events of the story. And also, up to that point, up to the hour and 45 minute mark, there was really no strong theme in the movie yet. And I think that was one of my problems. The director did not seem to have a strong theme of what the movie was supposed to be until the very end. And the theme is friendship. It's the fact that these two guys in the worst of situations were able to get through it because they were friends. And the issue is that their friendship feels more like a business decision until the last 30 minutes. And what I would have liked is more scenes where they were talking not about breaking out of prison, not about their horrible situations, not about staying alive, and just talking as friends. You get few scenes like that, and the few scenes that you do have are great. Unfortunately, because the movie does not have enough of them, it kind of messes up the whole rest of the movie that their friendship doesn't really work. Beyond that, though, this movie is extremely well crafted. Other than the script taking another 30 minutes, and other than the director not finding a clear, message yet, the hour and 45 minutes before are suspenseful. They build and they build and they build. You start interested in the story. You have sympathy for the characters almost automatically. And even though it is a basic prison break movie, it does its own unique things with the genre. For example, there is a scene purely with solitary confinement. There's a guy who goes into solitary confinement for 3 years, and to watch it happen, it's like a 20-minute sequence. It sounds atrocious. It sounds horrible to sit through, but it's creative. They never run out of things to do, and it's one of the most impressive sequences I have seen this entire year. And the script is definitely the reason a lot of the movie works. The dialogue is very, very strong. And it's strong especially in the scenes where the two lead characters are just talking as friends. But besides that, it is also strong. It sets up interesting situations, and it does help in building tension. And something else that the script does, but is mostly on the director, is the scenery. And not really the scenery, but just the setting of it. The setting is in a really horrible part of French Guiana, and it's part of the French expansion, and it's supposed to be like, that's what they say. They say your worthless lives of being criminals are now going to be put to worth by helping with French expansion. And the climate that they used was fascinating. It didn't pop, because it wasn't supposed to pop. It was the characters on screen that were supposed to pop, but it looked beautiful, and the way that they showed it was the perfect amount. You got to see enough of it to know what it looked like, but you weren't limited from seeing it, and they didn't overdo it, is what I'm trying to say. They didn't overdo showing you the scenery. They weren't pushing it in your face. It just worked, and the setting was actually one of the most interesting components of the movie. So Papillon is not a perfect movie. It has its flaws, but the director did do a great job with it. The writer did do a great job, and the actors were just phenomenal. The pace is really great. It's extremely suspenseful in some sequences, and it's creative, and most importantly of all, it's not a movie you will ever forget. It is a memorable movie, and it's rare that you're able to say that, because a lot of Prison Break movies are just the same thing over and over again, but this movie is memorable for its creativity. I will give Papillon a 7.5 out of 10. Alright, that concludes my review for Papillon. So, what are your thoughts on this film, or have you seen the original? It was a remake, so if you have, comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.